What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ice to Closer channel. On this video, we're going to cover the best time to buy a motorcycle and also the best time to start riding motorcycles, in my opinion. Now, in my experience in the US, motorcyclists tend to magically disappear once that temperature gets below about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. And once it gets into the 40s, you tend to only see your people who got the BMW 1200s and those adventure bikes that have their full onesie of safe gear year round. Shout out to them. I'll be you one day, hopefully. To be honest, it does kind of make sense. Once the temperature gets low, you tend to have to wear a little bit more bulky gear, and riding may not be as fun, particularly to the people who don't wear gear even when it's warm outside. You also naturally have a lot less things going on, and a lot of people really do ride motorcycles for the social part of it. This is why I believe it's the best time to start riding, because you don't have to worry about as much peer pressure if you start riding in the winter. Now, obviously, you don't want to ride when there's snow on the ground. At least I would not recommend that, and definitely not recommend that to a new rider. But when it's winter and it's above 32 degrees, 38 typically is my cutoff, make sure, of course, there's no black ice on the road. On a day that's sunny like this, once you get out, most of the runoff has dried up. That's when you're good to go. But you have less cars on the road in the winter, you have less bikes on the road, and you really can just focus on riding. Also, unless you have super gloves or super warm gloves, you probably will max out around 30 minutes anyway. And I think the winter is a great time to see if you actually want to ride motorcycles. The summer can make you feel good because you may get more attention and you may get to ride with your buddies and do stupid stuff. But in the winter, you will be just by yourself. And if you can enjoy riding motorcycles in the winter, you're probably truly going to be a rider for a while. Outside of just the safety facts, it's also very economical to start riding in the winter, and specifically to look for a bike in the winter. During all that time I mentioned where riders are not riding, bikes can become out of sight, out of mind. People tend to get new priorities, like they start building families, having a baby, getting married, maybe need a new job, maybe need a little bit more money, maybe need a different type of vehicle, and all of a sudden, these beautiful motorcycles become expendable. That's when you have your best opportunity to not only get the bike that you like, but get it for a lower price. So you can actually go buy gear when you start. Now, another extremely important factor to consider when it comes to buying a bike in the winter is that a lot of people do buy bikes from dealerships and they do finance their bikes. What that means is that if you bought this R7, for example, brand new, it was probably going to be about 10 grand. Now, if you look at the R7s in the winter, most of them are hovering around 8 grand, which means, in my opinion, you can push to about 7,500, maybe even 7 grand. The reason why you can get these good deals in the winter, particularly for a newer model like the R7, is not only did the owners pay a premium for the bike because it first came out, which 10K was a premium for the R7, but they're also financing it, which means they have interest. Over a 3 or 5 year period, depending on whatever the term of their loan is, that $10,000 bike may have maybe $19,000, $20,000 worth of payments if they don't get ahead on the payments, which means that during the cold months, November, December, January, February, if they're not riding the bike, they are making a $300 to $500 payment a month on this, not including the motorcycle insurance. So imagine you just had someone, you just gave them $600 a month just to take up space. And that's not even considering that some people may not be able to have a garage, or at an apartment complex, you may pay an extra monthly fee for an apartment garage, or you may pay for a storage facility. It can easily be $700 for a simple bike like this a month. So if you're coming to me, I don't really know if I want to ride bikes that much anymore, and I have 5 months of paying $700, and you offer me 2 grand off, technically you're saving me $1,500. That's why you can get really, really good deals in the winter, particularly on these nicer bikes, sport bikes and things like that, that people don't ride in the winter. Now, on a BMW GS 1200, you can still get some money off, but a lot of those riders really do ride in the winter, rain, snow, all of that stuff. And you may not have as much of a leverage when it comes to negotiating with them. Important, don't be a jerk when negotiating. Try to be fair, make sure you understand the market. Again, in my area, a lot of R7s were bought for about 10 grand brand new, but in the summer they had them for sale at 8,500. If you were able to wait out into the winter, I guarantee you can get it for under 8 grand. In most cases, a very good model as well. So it doesn't apply just for R7s, but it does apply a lot for sport bikes or bikes that will not be ridden in the winter and will just be collecting revenue for whoever sold it to the owner in the first place. Now, for those of you who are watching this video but are not planning to buy a motorcycle and not planning to ride in the winter is a great time to do the maintenance for your bike that you may have skipped in the summer because you wanted to keep riding, such as oil, such as maintaining your chain. Things that can save your life in the summer can be done in the winter. And also, if you do get on your bike, it's a great time to practice the non-sexy things. At least for me, right now, my hands, I can barely feel them. I got about 30 minutes on a motorcycle before I start to lose feeling in my hands if I don't have my heated gloves on. 30 minutes is a great time to go do parking lot practice. And again, in the winter, you're not gonna have a ton of people just hanging out at parking lots once it's about 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. And even at night, when you have a well-lit parking lot, you don't have people just hanging out in the winter, which is another great reason why you should start riding in the winter and keep riding in the winter. Safe riding out there. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.